Testing, testing, mic test. Testing, testing, mic test. All right, audio's working. I've got this weird thing here that just won't fix. I don't know what side it goes, but when I grab my hair, it's not long enough to go there, but I mean, I guess it's short enough to go there. It's kind of feeling like an awkward length, and that bothers me. Like, I don't like this kind of thing that I get here, but it's whatever. All right. And we are alive. We're alive and we're alive. Okay? And we're talking about some important stuff. I'm just going to check if audio is fine if I clip it. It's not amazing. It's not amazing. I mean, it works. Okay, here we go. Doing the live a little bit earlier today. Wanted to do it a little bit more earlier, but it was very hot, and Dubai is notorious for overheating things. And then I ran out of juice, so I went to the gym and I stole their outlets and charged everything, and here I am. Okay, and while I was working out, I thought of the topic for today, and I guess it's time to explain the thumbnail and the title. All right. Learn one thing to learn all. What does that mean? And to be a little more poetic, the path to all is through one. Speaking like a, whatever. But yeah. The purpose of it is that often I think we like to complicate things because we consider them to be new. It's a new thing, and things are complicated. We don't understand all aspects of it immediately, and perhaps things catch us by surprise, and we're kind of there's a lack of confidence to try and take steps. Perhaps it's imposter syndrome. Like, who am I? Can I do this? Or are people going to take me seriously? And that's all it is, right? Your perception of what other people will take you seriously for, not whether you think you're ready. A lot of decision making really revolves around what other people perceive us like, and it's just not true. It's just not true. And what I want to talk about is that everything is essentially the same. Just like everyone is essentially the same, right? We're all the same, and yet we're not. And everything is, of course, different, and yet it's not. And I'm getting this from Musashi. Miyamoto Musashi, right? This man, I know the story of him vaguely. He has some books, Dokado, The Five Rings, something like that. Haven't read it, but I know of him, and I briefly know his story. And the way his story goes is that he was taught by he was taught to be a swordsman, and what happened is that he was taught to be a swordsman, and where am I? Where's my head at? He was taught to be a swordsman, and one day he decided to go off into the woods, into the forest, and live off the land and train there in just solitude. And he was there for, I don't want to butcher it because my details are hazy, but I believe it was approximately 7 years or something like that. He went away for 7 years, and when he came back, to his death, He was undefeated in one-to-one sword fights to his death. He did not lose a single battle. And the reason why he's so interesting, his lore is so interesting, it's the solitude. It's that he went away and he learned something. And he discovered something that was always kind of. How can a man who learned swordsmanship and was a decent swordsman go away, spend time entirely alone, and come back unbeatable? You know, he had no more masters after that. If I am, you know, as far as I know, he was a master. And I think they kind of reference him in Hunter x Hunter as well, if you've seen it, where the old man, Netero, goes into the mountains and practices his punches, um, and comes back um, unbeatable in martial arts. And Musashi said, and I'm paraphrasing again. I'm gonna put one disclaimer so that I don't have to say it again and again, and I might say it again and again too. But the stories of him are vague and stuff I've read online. So if I get anything incorrect, just know it's on the internet somewhere. Um, and there's pearls of wisdom in there anyway. So take from it what you will. But Musashi said, if you kind of learn how to do one thing well, and you know how generally one thing works, and it could be anything, you have then the ability to learn anything quite easily, uh, because you can map that learning onto anything. Whether it's mathematics, swordsmanship, gardening, um, any sort of sport, any sort of endeavor. Did you see the birds fly over me? That was pretty cool. And there's something to be learned there, I feel, because it's impossible to conceive, right? And it's not like Musashi kept his secrets. He wrote books, he explained it, and a lot of it was mostly philosophy. A lot of it was mostly philosophy. It's like he shut himself away from the world, um, and did nothing but focus on one thing for a very long period of time, entirely alone. And you think to yourself, like, okay, can I do that? Is that available to me? And Musashi says, yes, you can. You just have to do exactly what he did. And I guess that's why certain skills, certain experiences that people go through are invaluable, because it's not our ability, but our mental that stops us. And yeah, I find that quite fascinating. And that's something that has to keep you going, right? It's like, remember that, okay, things are difficult. Uh, Knowledge is hidden behind paywalls that are not necessarily within everyone's pockets. But the information is essentially there, as long as you spend the time to, you know, just absolutely dedicate yourself to it without distraction. And that is one of the most difficult things to do, especially in today's world where distractions are so ever present. It's impossible not to be distracted. it's impossible not to be distracted. And in my opinion, the path, let's call it, to freedom from that is through it. In the book Snow Leopard, um, talks about categories. The writer talks about categories, and he talks about passive and active consumption. Passive and active consumption. And that small step between passive and active consumption is the path towards escaping that. Escaping escapism, let's call it. Let's call it. Why? Okay. There's like a 1% rule of the internet, right? It's like 90% of people are viewers, 9% are curators, and 1% are creators. And you have to be willing to either be a curator or creator. And that 90% of viewership is divided into two as well. And it's essentially, are you passively, this is the passive consumers, are you passively consuming content, as in you just scroll and you mindlessly just consume content for the purposes of entertainment, not realizing that your time is being taken, and kind of, just living in ignorance to losing your time to whoever decides to create content? Or two, are you actively choosing to consume content? Just gonna check the temperature of my phone. Not too bad, honestly. It's not too hot outside here, so let's go. So yeah, I came downstairs here, and I sat for a bit because my laptop was dead, and my phone was low, so it soon died. I should have prepped. And so I decided to go work out, charge my stuff, and I'm like, okay, let's just go live. Let's just go live. Because I had this thought, and I wanted to talk about it. And call it, grandiose thinking or whatever. But this is a good way to get your thoughts out. And honestly, a thought said in your mind and a thought said out loud are very different, because human beings have generally a filter on what things they do or say. And if you can say it out loud, it means that you've probably chosen your words carefully before uttering them, and that's important. And oh, sorry, there's people around. It's cool. I just don't want anyone to come into the live mistakenly. That would be rude. And we're good people and we do good things, so we're respectful of other people. We like to respect. And it's like you don't have to kind of do the whole internet thing going around and just annoying people. You can just create for the sake of sharing or curating or creating knowledge. And I've learned quite a lot. I'm here for 100 days so far. 83, I believe. I just typed it in, but I believe it's 83. And it's taught me a lot. And I'm quite sure it's going to take me more than 100 days. And that is entirely my fault, because I've been unable to get over certain preconceptions of the way forward. And it's almost like you try to avoid the way because the way means to put yourself in the risk of being stabbed by a sword. Musashi reference. And it's I'll tell you a story about Musashi that I heard from someone. So I haven't read it personally, but Musashi had a fight, right? So he used to regularly fight people. People would come challenge him because he was so formidable, and they wanted to prove themselves, and they would end up dying by Musashi's hand, stabbed, because Musashi was just too good. He was just too good. And the important thing to note of Musashi is that he believed, and this may have come through his time spent alone, but he learned to be completely self-responsible. He was always responsible for whatever happened to him at all times. So he had a fight due in a few days or a week or something like that. And you have to take care of yourself. You're a fighter. You have to be in top condition. You have to make sure you don't get sick. You have to, you can't eat weird. You can't get drunk. You can't do anything crazy. You have to stay focused. And so Musashi, he was in an establishment, I forget where, but there was a floorboard with a nail protruding. And Musashi, barefoot, stepped on it. And he caught a sickness, an infection. And he was feverish, and he was unable to walk fully to the best of his ability. And if you can't walk, you're not ready for a fight. But boy, he's not going to miss the fight. And so, for the fight, he blames himself. He says, it's not the nail's fault or the carpenter that left, or the carpenter's poor craftsmanship, but it was my fault for losing the fight with the nail. Do you understand? He lost the fight with the nail. That's how he saw it. He saw it as him losing the fight to the nail rather than just a simple accident. That kind of self-responsibility is kind of foreign to people. It's foreign to me, which is, this makes me think. It's like, damn, how much more responsibility do I need? It's far greater than, I'd argue, your average responsible person. But that's what you need to excel to world-class standards. And Musashi, he saw it as him losing the battle to that nail. That nail was there, and it was waiting for him to step on it. And he should have been prepared. He should have walked differently. He should have. He's a fighter. He should be aware of these kinds of threats. And he lost that battle. And even though it was just a nail in the floor that cut his foot, kind of semi-disabling him, and he had an incoming fight, he didn't kind of get mad at whoever. He saw it as, I messed up. I lost the battle between me and the nail. And, there's several little stories and philosophies like that about him, where he's completely just... You'll notice in Musashi's work, it's a lot of philosophy. He goes away for 7 years, and he comes back, and he's incredibly philosophical and just unbeatable. And he says the way to learn anything is to have learned one thing. right? And it's like, if you've ever learned something, you can learn anything. It's it's just you have to put the time in, as corny as that sounds. And he did. He spent 7 years alone, and he spent it learning um, to be the greatest swordsman because that's what he wanted. And it's like, okay, if you just put the time in, you'll just learn, right? It's like if you put your muscles under tension, they'll just grow. Um, I got this idea while working out, so you can imagine what I was thinking. Um, but yeah, no, I've been doing some cardio here and there, but this is my first kind of like weight training in a while. Um, just I feel better, I feel healthier, I feel more energetic. So I'm like, why not? And this thought came to my mind, and here's my goal, right? I want to be a content creator, but I don't just want to be a content creator. I want to be not the greatest content creator in the world that's left to other people. For me, I want to be a content creator for a certain type of person. I want to get businesses to create content, and I'm going to teach them how to make content. And I have spent 83 days now learning how to make content. And so now I have skills that they don't have. I have insights that they don't have. And I can give that to them. I can go into the philosophy of it, what little I have after 83 days. I'm not going to brag about it. It's only 83 days, it's not 7 years, but it's more than anyone else has spent in this space, in this mindset of I have to do content. Waking up every day, writing my thesis, researching, learning, doing, creating videos, editing, rewriting, and rewriting. And eventually you get to a place where I'm at now, where you've kind of done the thing that everyone else can do, or anyone else who spends a few weeks or a few hours researching on how to do it. And it's like, okay, I have the technical skills. I know how cameras work. I know how audio works. I know how to do editing. I know how to write a script. Now we enter the philosophy. It's like, okay, think of it like a sword fight, right? What am I essentially doing? I'm creating video so that people watch and keep watching, or they want to eventually purchase my skills, right? That's the goal, right? That's the eventual goal. And if you consider this, when you create content, it's not just about recording and saying words and getting audio right and editing. There's a lot more to it, right? And I guess that's what Musashi learned in his time alone, is that you might be able to learn how to swing a sword and grow the muscles and get a nice amount of speed. It does not mean that you will win in a fight. And it's like, you might know how to record a video and how to write a script, but you will not be able to capture people's attention if you do not understand deeply people themselves. And that is applicable to swordsmanship, that is applicable to content creation, that is applicable to working out, that is applicable to anything and everything. Since everything we do is always somehow related to other people. Why do we do anything? And if you like to stay hidden and not share your things with other people, you probably have some sort of insecurity. And there's nothing wrong with having insecurity. It's good to be insecure about certain things. It's good to be insecure walking down the street at midnight through London streets. You should be afraid. It's foolish to neglect risk. Um, but it is also foolish to think that just because you are afraid of death, uh, that you are somehow less. And yeah, so I mean, Masashi has many books. He has many philosophies. I don't know all of them, and I don't intend to go through all of them. But it's important to realize that if you are indeed set on a path, you can make it come true, regardless of what it is. It just takes time to understand how you do it, and then how you can. Ex-BBC presenter Hugh Edwards charged with making indecent pictures of kids. Wow, it's a strange year, right? Everybody's just yikes. I just got a news alert from BBC. It's like every day, every month, there's like yikes. But yeah, and a little segue there. No matter what you're doing, you can do it, right? And that's where I'm at right now, where I'm kind of mentally trying to understand, sitting with the thought, doing the thing, writing, rewriting, being in the thing. You know, it's like I said earlier, the way to the thing is through the thing. If that makes sense. And you can't avoid it. It's the only way. Otherwise, all you'll be able to do is just know the technicals. And if you can surpass the technicals, you'll be able to do a lot more than you think you can. And how's my phone battery doing? You know, the phone's not overheating. I think it's nice and windy outside here. When I'm in the balcony, I think there's less wind, so overall the kind of vibe is much more hot temperature wise. But I've got like open air here, so it's nice. And yeah, somehow I've made it to my first half an hour live in a long time, which I'm happy about. I don't like doing the short lives. I don't like them. Um, yeah, that's all I got. I guess eventually, after having spent time in the forest alone, you have to leave the forest. Let me repeat that so it's clear. After having spent time in the forest, you have to then leave the forest and risk the blade. You have to then go against someone else's blade, and that can be and is for all people a terrifying thought. I mean, if you're a psycho and there's something wrong with you, bravo, um, you win the mental battle there. Uh, you didn't need the 7 years, but You have to leave the forest once you're confident with your ability, and you have to then risk the sword. And it's like you can learn so much. I've been making videos for over a decade. I've been editing videos, my personal videos, stuff I've posted, uh, stuff professionally, as part of school, graded stuff. I've done all of that. I've edited, I've filmed, um, I've written, and I've even produced music. Though we won't go into that. Though I am proud of it. I am proud of it. It's good music. Um, issue is, eventually you have to post it. Eventually you have to post it, and a lot of people fear that with content creation. Um, Fortunately, with content, you don't have to risk the blade. You just have to risk possible humiliation. People on the internet are a little weird. It's like the anonymity of the mob can make people do strange things, and it's not always kind. People have things going on with their lives, and they'll choose to spread hatred. And there's a lot of kids with family problems who choose to be edgy, um, and kind of have an edgy sense of humor. I'd say I was one of them. Fortunately, though, I've never really had, apart from the occasional case, I've never really had much confidence to post incredibly edgy things, because I was always like, it's cool if I think of something awful, but once it's said, it's said, it's like, you can't take it back. And, then you realize everyone's mostly essentially like that. You know, um, we think awful things all the time, but if you say them out loud, it's different. It's a different ball game. Then you've put it into the world, and the fear that comes from putting stuff into the world. But if you spend the time and you make sure it's good things, then you need to leave the forest eventually, or the jungle, or wherever Musashi was. It's a metaphor. I like metaphors. Ah, but that's it. I think I'm gonna stay until my phone gives me the 10% battery warning. Um, but yeah, this is nice. It's the longest one I've done in a while, and I don't feel like leaving because the temperature is actually fairly good. And yeah, I need a new strategy. That's what I've learned. I need a new strategy because once one strike fails, you have to be able to understand that what's wrong with the strike. Was it you? Was it the strike itself? Was it the situation? Was it the timing? Anything and everything has to be studied. That's why you need time with it. 7 years alone, with no distractions. And yeah, my strategy needs to change because content is the new content is the new thing, right? Content is it. Um, and I say that because traditional ways are kind of not dead, but incredibly difficult. They require a different sort of finesse. Uh, you need to know people, right? People need to be able to trust you. And generally speaking, people will go with what they trust. And generally, it's, word of mouth. I know this guy, or, my nephew can do it for me, you know. And the way to build trust is to be able to create content that builds trust. What you have may be useful, but you know, um, people will buy things they believe will give them results. And that belief doesn't come from the actual product itself, it comes from results. And results come from someone giving you a chance, you know? Um, and this is, just people starting out, really. You can choose, you can use whatever way um, to make it through whatever kind of thing if you're not kind of in the early phases, because people know you, people, you know, you build contacts, and people are willing to work with you. But when it comes to starting out, the old ways just don't work, especially because of AI. Everyone is everyone is aware of AI and what it can do. So everyone is conscious that they can do it with a lot less, and it means for people starting out, it's incredibly difficult to build that kind of trust because there's not a lot of entry level stuff going around, um, and yet there's a shortage of skilled workers, but companies are unwilling to train people. This is I'm going to go on a little rant here, but I think companies should pay people to learn how to do their job. You know, it's just how I feel. I think it's better for the economy. I think it's, it's like if someone wants to do a job, make them sign a contract, um, pay them, and get some skilled workers out there, and sign them in for a few years. Like, we paid to train you, so give us 2 3 years of your time, 5 years, whatever, and then God bless, or we'll promote you or whatever. Yeah, it's getting dark. I wonder if lighting's better this way. No, it's all just incredibly dark. I think I'm gonna call it at 40 minutes because it's just too damn dark to be seen. So, yeah, we did a longer live today, and I'm happy about that. Wait, that's the Burj over there. Cool view. Um, and yeah, so if you've learned one thing, you know, if you've learned one thing in your life, just know that you now have the building blocks within you to learn essentially anything and everything. And so do not be disheartened, and do the thing. Do the thing. I don't know how well I can be seen here, but do the thing. All right. So, um, yeah. So, hey, how you doing? You just came at the end of the live. What's up? Is it too dark? Can you see me? Can you see me? All right. You want to see the Burj? My one viewer. Cool view, huh? Oh, they got like a light show on. Check it on the side. Do you see it? Yeah. All right. Well, this was fun. There is more light over there, so I'm just gonna walk and end the live in a little bit. Oh, a little bit of light before complete darkness. After complete darkness. That's a little bit better, I think. Okay, well, what I have to say is start making content. Um, it is the best way. It is the way. There is a way to do it, but there are many ways. Um, but if you need help, just drop a comment or something. I don't know. Yeah. All right. Well, this was fun. 42 minutes, not bad. It's amazing what I can do if I'm not just like overheated by the weather. So yeah, this is fun. Cool. But what? Be good. You know. You know what that means. It's ending. Be good. Do good things. Please. Be be good people. Oh, I just kicked a rock out of its place. Put that back. Ooh, light. Yeah. Be good. Do good things. And subscribe. And what? Can I just chill here? I just chill here. Yeah. If you know one thing, you can do all things, and you should be making content. And I'm changing my strategy, and I'll talk more about that tomorrow on the live. Yeah, be good, do good things, and subscribe, and good things will happen. All right. Okay. I'll see you tomorrow.